I always hated surprise parties. The fake smiles, the forced enthusiasm, the way everyone pretends they're thrilled to be there celebrating your existence. But nothing, and I mean nothing, prepared me for the surprise I got on my 50th birthday. Before we dive deeper into this story, I have one small request. Please subscribe, drop a like, comment, and hit that hype button to boost this channel so more people can discover these incredible Reddit stories. I'm Alex Grant, senior partner at Morrison & Associates Architecture, the kind of guy who designs glass towers that scrape Chicago's belly and makes enough money to keep a family comfortable in Evanston's most pristine neighborhood. 23 years married to Sarah, a sharp-tongued family lawyer who could cut through legal red tape like a chainsaw through butter. 2 kids, Emma, 17 and social media obsessed, and Jack, 15, and thankfully still talking to me. The office party was winding down. My colleagues had done their duty: cake, champagne, handshakes, and promises to do lunch soon that we all knew were lies. I was loosening my tie when Rebecca from reception knocked on my office door. "Mr. Grant, there's someone here to see you." Behind her stood a weasel-faced man in an expensive suit, briefcase in hand, wearing the kind of smirk that meant trouble. "Alex Grant?" His voice had that nasal quality of someone who'd never been punched in the mouth, but probably deserved it. "I'm David Chen, attorney for Sarah Grant. I have some documents for you." My stomach dropped like an elevator with cut cables. "Documents?" He opened his briefcase with theatrical precision. "Divorce papers. Mrs. Grant is seeking full custody of both children, the house, 50% of your business assets, and spousal support." His smirk widened. "She's also requesting that you vacate the family home immediately." The office went silent. 20 pairs of eyes watched as my life imploded in real time. Chen leaned closer, lowering his voice just enough that only I could hear. "Between you and me, those kids don't even want your name anymore. Emma's already talking about taking her mother's maiden name when she turns 18. Something cold and sharp crystallized in my chest. I reached into my desk drawer and pulled out a sealed manila envelope I'd been carrying for 3 weeks. Call it intuition, call it paranoia, call it whatever you want. I'd had a feeling this day was coming. "Give this to your client," I said, handing him the envelope. "Tell her it's a birthday present from her loving husband." Chen's smirk faltered slightly. "What is it?" "She'll know." After he left, I sat in my office staring at the divorce papers. 23 years of marriage reduced to legal jargon and asset division. The worst part? I wasn't even surprised. Sarah had been distant for months, working late, taking mysterious phone calls, treating me like an inconvenient roommate rather than a husband. My phone buzzed. A text from Emma. "Mom says you're not invited home tonight. Sorry, Dad. Hotel?" I laughed. Actually laughed, because the alternative was screaming. My own daughter delivering my eviction notice via text message. The efficiency was almost admirable. I drove to Murphy's Pub downtown, a dive bar where architects and lawyers went to drink away their disappointments. The place reeked of stale beer and broken dreams, which seemed appropriate. I was 3 whiskeys deep when I heard a familiar laugh from the corner booth. Sarah's laugh. The one she used to reserve for me, back when we were young and stupid and thought love could conquer anything. Now she was sharing it with Connor Hayes, her law firm partner, a silver-haired pretty boy who drove a Tesla and wore $1,000 suits like armor. I couldn't hear everything, but I caught enough. Sarah's voice, slightly slurred from wine. "Alex never saw it coming. The prenup he signed 20 years ago has more holes than Swiss cheese. By the time my lawyers are done with him, he'll be lucky to keep his toothbrush." Connor's response made my blood boil. "What about the kids?" Emma's already on board. She understands that Daddy made some poor financial decisions. Jack will come around once he realizes which side his bread is buttered on. I finished my whiskey and left, but not before making a quick stop in the parking garage. Connor's Tesla was parked in the corner, pristine and gleaming under the fluorescent lights. I took out my keys and carved a message into the driver's side door. "Happy anniversary, asshole." Then I placed the burner phone I'd been carrying under his windshield wiper. The phone contained a recording of Sarah's conversation from the bar, every damning word about her plans for my assets and our children. My own phone started ringing as I walked away. Sarah's mother, Evelyn, the matriarch of the Grant family dynasty. Her voice was shaking. "Alex, how did you know about our situation?" "What situation would that be, Evelyn?" "Don't play games with me. That envelope you sent Sarah, how did you find out?" I smiled in the darkness of the parking garage. "Let the games begin, Evelyn. Let the games begin." The next morning, I woke up in a Hampton Inn that smelled like industrial disinfectant and other people's regrets. My phone had 17 missed calls from Sarah, 12 from her lawyer, and 1 from Emma that I actually answered. "Dad, what did you do?" Her voice had that teenage accusatory tone that could cut glass. "Mom is freaking out. She's been crying all morning. I gave her what she wanted, sweetheart. A clean break. She says you're trying to destroy the family. The family was destroyed the moment she decided to screw her business partner. I'm just making it official." Emma hung up on me. I couldn't blame her. In her 17-year-old mind, I was the villain who'd shattered her perfect suburban existence. She didn't know about Connor yet. Didn't know that her mother had been planning this divorce for months while playing the devoted wife at home. I called in sick to work and drove to Marcus Webb's office. Marcus was an ex-cop turned private investigator, the kind of guy who looked like he'd been carved from a block of granite and left out in the rain for 20 years. We'd been friends since college, back when he was studying criminal justice, and I was learning to design buildings that wouldn't fall down. "Jesus, Alex, you look like hell," he said, pouring coffee that could strip paint. "What's the emergency?" I told him everything. The divorce papers, the conversation at the bar, Sarah's affair with Connor. Marcus listened without interruption, occasionally making notes in a battered notebook. "How long you think this has been going on?" he asked. "Months, maybe longer. I need proof, Marcus, real proof, not just overheard conversations and suspicious behavior. That's gonna cost you. Surveillance isn't cheap, and if Sarah's as smart as you say, she'll be careful." "Money's not an issue. Yet." Marcus smiled grimly. Famous last words. "Give me a week." While Marcus worked his magic, I played the part of the devastated husband. I moved into a furnished apartment downtown, close enough to the kids' school that I could maintain some presence in their lives. Jack visited twice, awkward conversations over pizza that we both pretended were normal. Emma didn't visit at all. The social media campaign started 3 days later. Emma's Instagram and TikTok accounts suddenly exploded with content about toxic fathers and brave mothers standing up to financial abuse. The posts were carefully crafted, designed to paint Sarah as a victim and me as a controlling monster who'd hidden money and threatened his family. The comments were brutal. Parents from Emma's school, neighbors, even some of my colleagues, all expressing support for Sarah and disgust for me. I watched my reputation crumble in real time, one post at a time. "Dad's broke and bitter," Emma said in one particularly vicious video that got 50,000 views. "Mom's finally free to be the amazing woman she's always been." Sarah was playing chess while I'd been playing checkers. She'd turned my own daughter into a weapon against me, and Emma was too young and angry to see she was being manipulated. That's when I decided to stop playing defense. I waited until the following Thursday, when I knew Sarah would be in the conference room with her biggest clients, the Hendersons, who were fighting a messy custody battle worth millions in legal fees. I walked into the law offices of Grant, Hayes and Associates, carrying a birthday cake from the expensive bakery on Michigan Avenue. "Delivery for Sarah Grant," I told the receptionist, flashing my most charming smile, from a grateful client. The receptionist, a young woman who clearly didn't recognize me, directed me to the conference room. I knocked politely and entered without waiting for permission. Sarah's face went white when she saw me. Connor started to stand, but I held up my hand. "Don't get up, Connor. This will just take a minute." I set the cake on the conference table, right in the middle of their legal documents. "Sarah, darling, I brought you a little something to celebrate our new arrangement. Alex, this is highly inappropriate. I'm in a meeting with clients." "Oh, I know. Mr. and Mrs. Henderson, isn't it? Fighting for custody of little Timothy?" I smiled at the confused couple. "I'm Alex Grant, Sarah's soon-to-be ex-husband. I thought you should know that your attorney has been having an affair with her business partner for the past 8 months, using firm resources to conduct their relationship, and has been discussing your case in public places where anyone could overhear." The room erupted. Mrs. Henderson started shouting questions. Mr. Henderson demanded explanations, and Connor tried to physically remove me from the room. That's when I accidentally knocked over the $10,000 glass sculpture sitting on Sarah's credenza. The crash was magnificent. Glass exploded across the hardwood floor like frozen fireworks, and in the chaos, I pressed a small USB drive into Mr. Henderson's palm. "Audio recordings," I whispered. "Your lawyer discussing your case at Murphy's Pub last Tuesday. Might want to find new representation." Security arrived as I was leaving, but I was already in the elevator, listening to Sarah scream my name from the hallway. The USB drive contained exactly what I'd promised: recordings of Sarah and Connor discussing client cases in public, a clear violation of attorney-client privilege. But it also contained something else: audio of Sarah laughing about how she'd destroy Alex financially and emotionally, and make sure he never sees his children again. By the end of the week, the Henderson case was transferred to another firm. 2 other major clients followed suit. The Illinois State Bar Association opened an ethics investigation into Sarah's conduct. But Sarah wasn't finished with me yet. I came home to my apartment Friday evening to find 2 police officers waiting in the lobby. Apparently, Sarah had filed a restraining order, claiming I'd threatened her and Connor during my visit to their office. The officers were polite but firm. I was to stay at least 500 feet away from Sarah, Connor, the law office, and the family home. "What about my children?" I asked. "You'll need to work that out through the courts, sir." That night, alone in my sterile apartment, I opened the bottle of scotch I'd been saving for a special occasion. This seemed special enough. As I poured the first glass, my phone buzzed with a text from an unknown number. "We need to talk. Tomorrow, 2 p.m., Lincoln Park Zoo, by the lion exhibit. Come alone. E. Evelyn." Sarah's mother, the keeper of family secrets, and the one person who might hold the key to everything that was happening. I'd been wondering when she'd make her move. I raised my glass in a mock toast to the empty apartment. "Here's to family secrets and the people who keep them." The scotch burned going down, but not as much as the knowledge that my war with Sarah was just beginning. Lincoln Park Zoo on a Saturday afternoon was chaos. Screaming children, exhausted parents, and the smell of overpriced hot dogs mixing with animal musk. I found Evelyn standing by the lion exhibit, her silver hair perfectly styled despite the October wind. At 69, she still carried herself like the society matriarch she'd always been, but today, her hands were shaking. "You look terrible, Alex," she said without turning around. Divorce will do that to a man, especially when his wife's been planning it for months. She finally looked at me, and I saw something I'd never seen in Evelyn's eyes before: fear. "What do you want?" "The truth. About the envelope. About why you called me that night, panicked out of your mind." Evelyn glanced around nervously. "Not here. Too many people." We walked to a quieter section near the flamingo pond. Evelyn sat heavily on a bench, suddenly looking every one of her 69 years. "Sarah made a mistake 17 years ago," she began. "A big one. I helped her cover it up because I thought it was the right thing to do. For the family. For Emma." My blood turned to ice water. What kind of mistake? The kind that could destroy everything. Sarah's career, Emma's future, your family's reputation. Stop dancing around it, Evelyn. What did Sarah do? She was quiet for so long I thought she wouldn't answer. When she finally spoke, her voice was barely a whisper. Emma isn't your daughter, Alex. She's Connor's. The world tilted sideways. I gripped the bench so hard my knuckles went white. That's impossible. Sarah and I were married when Emma was conceived. Sarah and Connor had an affair during your first year of marriage. You were working on that big project in Detroit, gone for weeks at a time. Sarah was lonely, Connor was charming, and I was too proud to see what was happening until it was too late. You've known this for 17 years? I suspected. I had a private DNA test done when Emma was 3. Connor's the father. Evelyn's voice cracked. I thought if we never spoke of it, if we just pretended, it would go away. Sarah ended the affair, you came back from Detroit, and everything went back to normal. Normal. I laughed, but there was no humor in it. My entire marriage has been built on a lie. Sarah loves you, Alex. She made one mistake. One mistake? I stood up, pacing in front of the bench. She's been lying to me for 17 years. She let me raise another man's child while the real father played uncle at family barbecues. And now she's having another affair with the same man while trying to take everything I've worked for. Evelyn flinched. How did you find out? About the DNA test? I pulled out my phone and showed her a photo of the document that had been in the envelope I'd given to Sarah's lawyer. I hired my own investigator 3 weeks ago. When you've been married as long as I have, you learn to recognize the signs. The late nights, the secret phone calls, the way she looked at Connor during Emma's birthday party last month. Marcus found the old medical records from when Emma was born. Sarah listed Connor as a potential father on her private medical history, but put my name on the birth certificate. The DNA test you had done? Marcus found that too. Amazing what people throw away instead of properly destroying. Evelyn buried her face in her hands. What are you going to do? What I should have done years ago. I'm going to stop being the nice guy who gets walked on by everyone. That evening, I sat in my apartment with a bottle of wine and my laptop, crafting the first phase of my real revenge. Sarah wanted to play dirty? Fine. I'd show her what dirty looked like. I started with Emma's college applications. As her legal father, I had access to her educational accounts. With a few clicks, I withdrew my financial support for her college tuition. Northwestern, her dream school, sent an automated email within hours. Due to changes in financial aid status, please contact the admissions office immediately. Next, I called the parents of Emma's 3 closest friends. Polite conversations where I mentioned, almost in passing, that Emma had been posting some concerning content on social media lately. Just thought you should know as a parent myself. Kids today, they don't realize how permanent the internet is. By Sunday morning, Emma's phone privileges had been revoked by 2 sets of parents, and her invitation to Madison Cooper's Halloween party had been mysteriously rescinded. But I wasn't done with Emma yet. I created an anonymous email account and sent her screenshots of her mother's credit card statements from the past 6 months. Expensive dinners for 2 at restaurants I'd never been to. Hotel charges in the middle of the day. A jewelry purchase from Tiffany's that I'd never seen Sarah wear. Thought you should know what your amazing mother has been doing while you've been defending her online, I wrote. Ask her about Connor Hayes. Ask her why she's been lying to you your entire life. Emma called me Sunday night, crying so hard I could barely understand her. Dad, what's happening? Mom won't talk to me. My friends are being weird. And Northwestern says there's a problem with my tuition. Come see me tomorrow after school. We'll talk. Mom says I'm not allowed to see you. Your mother says a lot of things, sweetheart. Most of them aren't true. Monday afternoon, Emma showed up at my apartment, looking like she'd aged 5 years in a week. Her perfect Instagram makeup was smudged, her designer clothes wrinkled. For the first time in months, she looked like the little girl who used to crawl into my lap during thunderstorms. "Is it true?" she asked without preamble. "About Mom and Connor? What do you think?" "I think my whole life has been a lie." She collapsed onto my couch. "I found them together this morning. In our house. In your bed." Something dark and cold settled in my chest. "What did you do?" "I recorded it. On my phone. I was so angry I wasn't thinking straight." She showed me the video. 30 seconds of Connor and Sarah in a passionate embrace in the bedroom I'd shared with my wife for 20 years. "Emma, I need to tell you something else. Something about Connor." I told her everything. The DNA test, the 17-year lie, the fact that Connor was her biological father. Emma listened in complete silence, her face growing paler with each word. When I finished, she was quiet for a long time. Then she looked at me with eyes that seemed far too old for 17. "So Connor is my real father, and he's been lying to me my whole life too?" "Yes." "And Mom has been cheating on you with my biological father, who I've known as just your business associate?" "Yes." Emma stood up and walked to the window, staring out at the Chicago skyline. "I want them to pay, Dad. I want them both to pay for what they've done to us." "Sweetheart, revenge isn't... Don't." She turned around, and I saw something in her expression that reminded me of Sarah at her most ruthless. "They destroyed our family. They lied to me about who I am. They turned me against you with more lies. I want them to hurt the way we're hurting." "What are you suggesting?" Emma smiled, and it was not a nice smile. "I have 50,000 followers on TikTok and Instagram. What do you think would happen if I posted that video of Mom and Connor, along with the truth about who my real father is?" "Emma, think about this carefully. Once you put something like that online, you can't take it back." "Good. I don't want to take it back. I want everyone to know what kind of people they really are." That night, Emma posted the video with a caption that would have made a professional publicist proud. "When you find out your mom's affair partner is actually your biological father, and they've both been lying to you for 17 years. Family secrets. DNA test. Cheaters. Living a lie." The video went viral within hours. By Tuesday morning, it had been viewed over 1 million times and shared across every social media platform. The local news picked it up by Tuesday afternoon. Chicago's legal community, always hungry for gossip about one of their own, devoured the story. Sarah's law firm released a statement Wednesday morning. "Due to recent personal matters affecting her professional judgment, Sarah Grant has been placed on indefinite administrative leave." Connor's wife filed for divorce Wednesday afternoon. Emma's Northwestern acceptance was officially rescinded Thursday morning due to the ethics scandal surrounding her family. By Friday, Sarah had been fired. Connor was living in a hotel, and Emma was homeschooled because the media attention had made regular school impossible. I should have felt guilty. I should have felt sorry for the destruction we'd caused. Instead, I felt something I hadn't experienced in months: satisfaction. But I wasn't finished yet. Not even close. The family home looked different when I pulled into the driveway Saturday evening. The perfectly manicured lawn was brown in patches, newspapers had piled up by the front door, and Sarah's car was parked at an odd angle, like she'd been drinking when she got home. The house that had once been a symbol of our success now looked like what it really was: a facade hiding a rotten foundation. I still had my key. Sarah hadn't thought to change the locks, probably because she'd been too busy dealing with the media storm Emma had unleashed. I let myself in and called out, "Family meeting! Everyone to the living room!" Sarah appeared first, looking like she'd aged 10 years in the past week. Her hair was unwashed, her makeup smeared, and she was wearing the same clothes I'd seen her in on the news Wednesday morning. "Alex, you can't be here. The restraining order was lifted yesterday when your lawyer withdrew it. Apparently, ethics violations make it hard to maintain legal proceedings." Connor emerged from the kitchen holding a beer, and the sight of him in my house, drinking my beer, wearing my old Northwestern t-shirt, made my vision go red around the edges. "You son of a bitch," I said, stepping toward him. "Dad, don't." Jack appeared on the stairs, looking exhausted. At 15, he was caught between loyalty to me and love for his mother, and the stress was eating him alive. Emma came down behind him, but she looked different now. Older, harder. The viral video had transformed her from a naive teenager into someone who understood that the world was full of people who would lie to your face while stabbing you in the back. "Sit down," I said, gesturing to the living room furniture. "All of you." "Alex, please," Sarah began, but I cut her off. 17 years, I said, pacing in front of the fireplace. 17 years I've been living a lie. 17 years I've been raising another man's child while he played the role of family friend. 17 years of birthday parties and Christmas mornings and school plays, all built on deception. I pulled out my phone and opened the voice recording app. I want everyone to hear something. The audio was from 3 weeks ago, recorded at Murphy's Pub. Sarah's voice, slightly slurred from wine, talking about how she was going to destroy me financially and make sure I never saw my children again. Connor's laughter, their casual discussion of my destruction like it was a business transaction. Jack's face crumpled when he heard it. Even he couldn't deny what was right there in his mother's own words. "You recorded us?" Sarah's voice was shaking with rage. "I recorded you plotting to destroy your husband and alienate your children. There's a difference." I played another recording, this one from 2 weeks ago. Sarah and Connor discussing how they'd finally be free once the divorce was finalized and they could start their real life together. "How long has this been going on, Sarah? The affair, I mean. Not just this time, but from the beginning." Sarah looked at Connor, then at Emma, then back at me. "Alex, please, not in front of the children." "The children?" I laughed harshly. "You mean the daughter who isn't mine and the son you were planning to turn against me? Those children?" "I am your daughter," Emma said quietly. "DNA doesn't change the fact that you raised me. You're the only father I've ever known." "And you're the only daughter I've ever had," I replied, my voice softening for the first time all evening. "But that doesn't excuse what your mother and Connor have done." Connor finally spoke up. "Alex, I know you're angry." "Angry?" I turned on him, and he actually stepped backward. "Angry doesn't begin to cover it. You've been screwing my wife for 17 years, lying to my face at every family gathering, letting me pay for your daughter's expenses while you played the generous family friend." "It wasn't like that," Sarah protested. "Then tell me what it was like. Tell me about the first affair when Emma was conceived. Tell me about how you ended it and then started it up again 8 months ago. Tell me about the hotel rooms and the expensive dinners and the jewelry I never saw you wear." Sarah started crying, but they weren't tears of remorse. They were tears of rage and frustration at being caught. "You want to know the truth?" she screamed. "Fine. Yes, I had an affair with Connor when we were first married. Yes, Emma is his daughter. Yes, I've been seeing him again. But you know what, Alex? I'm not sorry." The room went silent. "I'm not sorry because you were never the husband I needed. You were always working, always focused on your precious buildings, never paying attention to what I needed. Connor understood me. Connor made me feel alive. So you decided to destroy our marriage and turn our children against me?" I decided to finally choose happiness over obligation. That's when Connor made his fatal mistake. He stepped forward and put his arm around Sarah's shoulders, right there in front of our children. "Sarah's right, Alex. She deserves better than—" I moved faster than I thought possible. One moment Connor was standing next to Sarah, the next he was stumbling backward as my fist connected with his jaw. He crashed into the coffee table, sending magazines and Emma's old art projects flying. "Dad!" Jack shouted. Connor scrambled to his feet, blood trickling from his split lip. "You're crazy. Sarah, call the police. The police? I laughed. Go ahead, call them. I'd love to explain to Officer Martinez how I found my wife's lover in my house, wearing my clothes, drinking my beer, after he spent 17 years lying about being my daughter's father. Emma stepped between us. Stop it. All of you. Just stop. She pulled out her phone and opened the live stream function on Instagram. Within seconds, dozens of viewers joined, then hundreds. Hi, everyone, she said with fake cheerfulness. Welcome to the Grant Family Meltdown Live from our living room. As you can see, we're having a wonderful Saturday evening discussing infidelity, paternity fraud, and good old-fashioned revenge. Emma, turn that off, Sarah demanded. Why? Embarrassed? You should be. Emma turned the camera toward Connor, who was still bleeding from his split lip. Everyone, meet Connor Hayes, my biological father and my mother's affair partner. He's been lying to me my entire life, but don't worry, he's about to get what's coming to him. The viewer count climbed past 1,000. Comments started flooding in, most of them supportive of Emma and me, others expressing shock at the family drama playing out in real time. Connor lunged for Emma's phone, but I stepped in his way. This time, when I shoved him, he went down hard, crashing into the entertainment center. Sarah's collection of legal awards scattered across the floor, and one of them, a heavy glass plaque, shattered against the wall. Oops, I said. Looks like your mother's achievement awards are as fragile as her marriage vows. The live stream viewer count hit 2,000. Emma was providing commentary like a sports announcer. And there goes Mom's Outstanding Family Lawyer Award. Ironic, don't you think? Sarah tried to grab the phone from Emma, but Emma danced away, keeping the camera rolling. Nope, Mom. The world needs to see this. They need to know what kind of people you and Connor really are. That's when the neighbors started gathering outside. Through the living room window, I could see at least 6 people standing on their lawns, some of them recording with their own phones. The Grant family destruction was becoming the neighborhood's entertainment for the evening. Connor got to his feet, wiping blood from his mouth. This is insane. Sarah, we're leaving. No, I said, blocking the doorway. You're not leaving. Not until we finish this conversation. You can't keep us here. Watch me. I pulled out my phone and played one more recording, this one from just last week. Connor's voice, talking to someone on the phone about how he was going to take Alex for everything he's worth, and how Sarah had finally grown a spine. The person he was talking to, I announced to Emma's live stream audience, was his divorce lawyer. They've been planning this for months, folks. Every detail, every move, designed to destroy me and take everything I've worked for. The viewer count hit 3,000. Local news stations were probably monitoring social media by now, looking for weekend stories. This was about to become much bigger than a family argument. Sarah seemed to realize this at the same time I did. Emma, please turn off the camera. This is our private business. Private? Emma laughed. You made it public when you decided to destroy Dad's reputation on social media. You made it public when you turned me into your weapon against him. You made it public when you filed for divorce and tried to take everything he's worked for. She turned the camera back to Connor. Tell everyone the truth, Connor. Tell them how long you've been lying to me about being my father. Connor looked around the room like a trapped animal. The live stream, the neighbors outside, the evidence of his 17-year deception. It was all closing in on him. Emma, Tell them, she screamed, and for a moment she sounded like the hurt, confused child she really was, underneath all the anger. I wanted to tell you, Connor said quietly. So many times, I wanted to tell you the truth. But you didn't. You let Dad raise me while you played the fun uncle who brought expensive presents and took credit for none of the hard work. The room fell silent, except for the ping of comments coming in on Emma's phone. 4,000 viewers now, watching our family destroy itself in real time. That's when I heard the sirens. The police arrived just as Emma's live stream hit 5,000 viewers. 3 squad cars, lights flashing, probably called by the neighbors who were getting tired of our family drama playing out on their quiet suburban street. Officer Martinez, who I recognized from the school safety presentations, knocked on the front door. "We got reports of a domestic disturbance." "No disturbance here, officer," I said, opening the door wide so he could see the living room. "Just a family discussion about infidelity and paternity fraud." Emma was still live streaming, providing running commentary to her audience. "And now the police are here, everyone, because apparently having an honest conversation about 17 years of lies is considered disturbing the peace." Officer Martinez looked around the room, taking in Connor's bloody lip, the broken award scattered on the floor, and the obvious tension crackling between all of us. "Sir, I'm going to need everyone to step outside while we sort this out." "Actually," I said, pulling out my phone, "I think there's something you should see first." I played the recording of Sarah and Connor discussing their plans to destroy me financially. Then the one where Connor talked about taking me for everything I'm worth. Finally, the audio from the bar where Sarah laughed about how I never saw it coming. Officer Martinez listened without expression, occasionally glancing at Sarah and Connor. When the recordings finished, he looked at me with something that might have been sympathy. "Mr. Grant, while I understand you're upset, you can't keep people in your house against their will." "This is my house, officer. I'm not keeping anyone here. They're free to leave anytime they want." I gestured toward the door. "But I think they should explain to their daughter why they've been lying to her for 17 years first." Connor started toward the door, but Emma blocked his path. "Don't you dare leave," she said. "Don't you dare walk out on me again." "Emma, sweetheart, don't call me sweetheart. Don't call me anything. You gave up the right to use pet names when you decided being my secret father was more convenient than being my real one." The livestream comments were going crazy. Grant family drama was trending on Twitter. Someone had screen-recorded portions of Emma's stream and uploaded them to YouTube. Our family's destruction was becoming internet entertainment. Sarah tried a different approach. "Officer Martinez, my husband has been harassing me and my friend. He broke into our law office, he's been stalking us, and now he's assaulted Connor." "That's interesting," I said, pulling up the video Emma had taken of Sarah and Connor in our bedroom. "Officer, would you like to see what my wife and her friend were doing in my bed this morning?" Officer Martinez held up his hand. "Sir, I don't need to see that, but I do need everyone to calm down and—" That's when Connor made his second fatal mistake of the evening. He tried to grab Emma's phone, lunging across the room toward her. I moved to intercept him, and we both went down in a tangle of arms and legs. We crashed into the bookshelf, sending my collection of architecture books tumbling to the floor. Connor threw a wild punch that caught me in the ribs, and I responded by grabbing him around the waist and driving him backward into the wall. "Dad, stop!" Jack shouted, but I was beyond hearing. 17 years of lies, 8 months of betrayal, and weeks of humiliation had built up to this moment. Every punch I threw was for every lie Connor had told, every family gathering where he'd smiled at me while secretly knowing Emma was his daughter. Officer Martinez and his partner separated us, but not before I'd given Connor a black eye to match his split lip. They handcuffed both of us, more for show than anything else, and sat us on opposite sides of the room. "Emma, turn off the camera," Officer Martinez said. "No way. 6,000 people are watching this. They deserve to know the truth about what's been happening to our family." "Young lady, my name is Emma Grant," she said, looking directly into the camera. "For 17 years, I thought Alex Grant was my biological father. Turns out my real father is Connor Hayes, who's been having an affair with my mother for most of my life. They lied to me, they lied to my brother, and they tried to destroy the man who actually raised me." She turned the camera toward Connor, who was slumped in a chair with his hands cuffed behind his back. "This is Connor Hayes, everyone. Successful lawyer, devoted family man, and pathological liar. He's about to lose his wife, his career, and any relationship he might have had with his secret daughter." Then she turned the camera toward Sarah. "And this is my mother, Sarah Grant." Also a successful lawyer, also about to lose everything because she thought she could destroy her husband and get away with it. The doorbell rang. Officer Martinez answered it, and I heard a familiar voice. Channel 7 News. We're here about the live stream. Emma grinned at her phone camera. Looks like we're going to be on the evening news, everyone. Mom, Connor, smile for the cameras. The next hour was a blur of police questions, news interviews, and neighbors gathering on the street to watch the spectacle. Emma kept her live stream running through all of it, providing commentary and answering questions from her viewers. By the time the police left, no charges filed, since Connor and I had both thrown punches, and it was technically my house. The story had been picked up by 3 local news stations and was spreading across social media like wildfire. Connor left with Sarah, both of them trying to hide their faces from the news cameras. Emma and Jack stayed with me, and we ordered pizza while watching ourselves on the 10 o'clock news. Grant family drama goes viral, the anchor announced. A suburban family's private dispute became public entertainment tonight when 17-year-old Emma Grant live-streamed a confrontation between her parents and her mother's affair partner, who she claims is her biological father. They showed clips from Emma's stream, including the moment Connor admitted he'd wanted to tell her the truth. So many times. They interviewed neighbors, who expressed shock at the revelations about the perfect Grant family. How do you feel? I asked Emma, as we watched her story dominate the local news cycle. Satisfied, she said without hesitation. They destroyed our family with lies. Now everyone knows what kind of people they really are. Your mother's career is probably over, Connor's too. Good. Maybe next time they'll think twice before lying to their children for 17 years. Jack, who'd been quiet through most of the evening's chaos, finally spoke up. What happens now? Now, I said, putting my arms around both my children. We figure out how to be a family again. A real family, built on truth instead of lies. Emma's phone buzzed with a notification. Her live stream had been viewed over 1 million times. Grant family drama was the #1 trending topic on Twitter. Someone had created a Wikipedia page about our family's scandal. We're famous, Emma said with dark satisfaction. Infamous, I corrected. Even better. The next morning, Sarah's law firm released a statement announcing her termination, effective immediately. Connor's wife filed for divorce and released her own statement expressing shock and betrayal at her husband's decades of deception. Emma's story was picked up by national news outlets. Teenager exposes mother's affair in viral livestream, ran on CNN. Family drama goes nuclear on social media was the headline in USA Today. But the best part came 3 days later, when I received a call from Northwestern University. Mr. Grant? This is Dean Morrison from the admissions office. We've been following your family's story in the news, and we wanted to reach out about Emma's admission status. I thought her admission was rescinded due to the ethics scandal. Well, that's the thing. Our review board met yesterday, and we've decided that Emma was actually the victim in this situation, not the perpetrator. She exposed the truth about her family rather than participating in deception. We'd like to reinstate her admission and offer her a full scholarship. I handed the phone to Emma, who was sitting at my kitchen table doing homework. Her face lit up as she listened to the dean's offer. Thank you, she said simply. I accept. After she hung up, she looked at me with tears in her eyes. Dad, I'm sorry I ever doubted you. I'm sorry I let Mom turn me against you. You were 17 and confused, sweetheart. You believed what your mother told you because children are supposed to trust their parents. Connor's not my father, she said firmly. DNA doesn't make someone a parent. Love does. Sacrifice does. Being there for every soccer game and school play and teenage crisis does. You're my father, Alex Grant, and I'm proud to be your daughter. That afternoon, we drove to the cemetery where my parents were buried. Emma placed flowers on their graves while Jack and I stood quietly behind her. I wanted to introduce myself properly, she said to the headstones. "I'm Emma Grant, Alex's daughter. Not by blood, but by choice. And I wanted to thank you for raising a man who knew how to be a real father." As we walked back to the car, Emma's phone buzzed with another notification. Someone had created a GoFundMe page called Justice for Alex Grant, and it had already raised $50,000 to help a good man rebuild his life after his family was destroyed by lies. "The internet loves a good revenge story," Emma said, showing me the page. "This isn't about revenge anymore," I replied. "It's about truth. It's about showing people that actions have consequences, and lies always come to light eventually." "So what's next?" I looked at my children, both of them mine, regardless of biology, and smiled. "Next, we build something new, something honest, something real." 6 months later, I opened my own architecture firm with Jack as my intern and Emma as my social media manager. Connor's law license was suspended pending investigation. Sarah moved back in with her mother and took a job as a paralegal. Emma's original Livestream has been viewed over 10 million times. She parlayed her internet fame into a scholarship, a book deal, and a platform for speaking about family honesty and the importance of truth. But the best revenge wasn't the destruction of Sarah and Connor's careers, or the public humiliation, or even the financial consequences of their actions. The best revenge was sitting around my dinner table every Sunday with my children, building the honest family we should have been all along.